Brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, and cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. Graveside funeral service for Herman Sherrill, age 85 of Sylacauga, is today at 1 o'clock from Green Hill Cemetery in Childersburg. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel directing. Celebration of life for Connie Archer Wright, age 81 of Sylacauga, is this afternoon at 2 p.m. from J. Craig Smith Community Center, Church of the Highlands, Sylacauga campus, with Pastor Charles Wright officiating. Mrs. Wright died April 26 at her residence. In lieu of flowers, contribution can be sent to Church of the Highland or to the Big Oak Ranch, Radley Smith Funeral Home directing. DeAndre Davis, age 23, died May 3rd. Community Funeral Home in Sylacauga announcing. Tracy Davis, age 52, died May the 5th. Community Funeral Home in Sylacauga will announce the arrangements for Tracy Davis, age 52. Funeral service for Myrtle Wesley will be Saturday, May the 7th at 1 o'clock from Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church in Childersburg, with burial in the Davis Cemetery of Childersburg. Visitation prior to the service on Saturday from Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church from 11 until 1. Community Funeral Home, Sylacauga directing. Funeral service for Jesse Kelly Sr. will be Saturday, May the 7th at 1 p.m. from Friendship Baptist Church in Sylacauga, with burial in the Friendship Baptist Church Cemetery of Sylacauga. Visitation today, 1 until 7 at the funeral home. Community Funeral Home in Sylacauga, 511 Edgewood Drive, in charge of the arrangements. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Spencer Lamar Reeves Jr., age 25, is today at 2 o'clock from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home, with the Reverend Frankie Moten officiating. Interment in the Pine Hill Cemetery. S.M. Goodson Funeral Home, crematory directing. Graveside funeral service for Mr. Gerald Denny Mcgill, age 84 of Alexander City, will be Sunday at 3 o'clock from Alexander City Cemetery. The family will receive friends on Sunday from 1 until 2:30 at the funeral home. Mr. Mcgill died Monday, May the 2nd at his residence. In lieu of flowers, donation can be made to the Alabama Wildlife Federation, 3050 Lanark Road, Millbrook, Alabama, 36054. Radley Funeral Home, Alexander City directing. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Deacon Grant Letty Whiteside, age 70 of Talladega, Saturday at 3 o'clock from Kingston Missionary Baptist Church. That's Kingston Missionary Baptist Church, with Pastor Byron White officiating. Interment in the church cemetery. Public viewing today, 3 till 7 at the funeral home. S.M. Goodson Funeral Home directing. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Mr. Eddie Wilson Sr., age 68 of Talladega, is Saturday at 1 o'clock from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home Chapel, with Pastor Barbara Embry officiating. Interment in the Mount Pilgrim Baptist Church Cemetery. Public viewing today at the funeral home from 3 till 7. S.M. Goodson Funeral Home in Talladega, in charge of the arrangements. Funeral service for Mrs. Julia B. Woodall will be Saturday, May the 7th at Mount Canaan Baptist Church in Vincent, with interment in the Harper Springs Cemetery in Sylacauga. Homegoing celebration remembering the life of Miss Vanessa Cecilia Coley, age 69 of Talladega, is today at noon from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home, with Apostle Willie Ed Simmons officiating. S.M. Goodson Funeral Home directing. And homegoing celebration remembering the life of Mr. Eric Dwayne Oden, age 30 of Talladega, will be Saturday at 11 a.m. from S.M. Goodson Funeral Home Chapel, with the Reverend Ronnie Beavers officiating. Interment in the Pine Hill Memorial Park. Public visitation for Mr. Oden is today, 3 till 7 at the funeral home. S.M. Goodson Funeral Home and Crematory in Talladega, in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report this morning, courtesy of Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremations since 1975. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.